that breath, or as many as we feel we need. Those breaths that allow our body to relax, that inform our muscles, that they can just be for a moment. No need to move anywhere. No need to do anything. Just be. Move into this moment of relaxation, of inspiration, of moving deeper into that space and presence of Godness that is within us. Becoming more and more aware that the center of my Godness begins in me. Knowing that we all are a part of God, not outside from God, not seeking and wishing for something that we need to reach for, but that it begins within. That every breath breathes God through us. Every breath we take is the breath of God itself. Every breath we take is the breath of God. We allow that to really sink in right now. We allow that to inform our thoughts, our feelings, our comfort, knowing that we are protected, that there is no spot where God is not. Nowhere, no thing, no space that I can ever be in, nothing that I can ever face where God is not already there. So we open to that presence of God within. We lean into the inner guidance that we receive when we know that all of the answers are here. When we know that there's no need to go reaching or angsting or worrying over things that will not be for our highest good, because we know that they are. Why? Because all things are of God. We lean into that mystery, knowing that though we may move through things, that the God that we seek is within. That the God that we seek is the very fabric of beingness that we exist within, and therefore we are always, always safe to explore, to learn, to grow, to move through whatever we have been brought to, knowing that the divine is in every detail indeed. We might want to call to mind a concern in this moment, something that we're holding on our heart that we would like to see differently, that we would like to be in differently. As we gently raise that concern, not grabbing onto it with both hands, simply raising it for consideration with a gentle curiosity, we allow the question to linger. What is this here for me to know? What is this here for me to learn? How do I best cooperate and gain the lessons and the blessings? And I send it love. And we just wrap that situation in a blanket of loving prayer energy, seeing the divine at work in every detail. we continue sending it love in a moment of silence. And then we take a deep breath of godness, and we release, giving whatever that situation is, that person, that movement, giving that one last hug, one last squeeze, one last infusion of divine love. And then we allow ourselves to loosen our grip on what happens with it, declaring that the divine is in every detail of our lives, knowing there is no spot where God is not. We move forward from this moment, eager to see the unfolding of the divine, eager to know the joy that comes on the other side of any challenge. Grateful. We say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. It's fascinating to me that the line really caught me this morning. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Many times, and I've heard that song before, and it's interesting, and she did the version, the unitized version of Amazing Grace that saved a soul like me. There are a lot of times in unity that, I hear people poo-poo the wretch. Now, I have felt like a wretch a time or 10,000, and I don't know about you guys, but it's fascinating. In unity, we have this affirmative, this positive lens that we see our lives through, the world through, that we choose to see things in the way that there are lessons and blessings in struggles and strife. And sometimes we can get a little afraid of words. I don't like the word wretch. I don't like to feel like a wretch. And yet, there is a time when it's true, right? Not capital T true, like in the divine we are wretches. No. In my little human space, in my little Trishness, there are times that I feel a little wretched. There are times that I feel a little less than, or like I've done something that I wish I hadn't done. Or where, you do the, could have had a blessing instead. So don't be afraid of words. We wordsmith sometimes and change words just because they resonate or feel better. But if you hear someone sing Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me, I will invite us all into a new relationship where we don't go, wretch. Oh, we don't say that. That's the whole, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Oh, I smashed my car up. Oh, it's all good. Like, heck it is. In the larger sense of the word, yes. In the capital G divine sense, yeah, it's probably all good. Who knows what could have happened if my car didn't get smashed up maybe I would have run into something else and it would have resulted in a fatality. Maybe something else would have happened to me, or I would have taken another road or done another thing. So we choose to say, these things in life happen, and I will glean the lessons and the blessings from them. But we don't act like it's all good. Oh my gosh, I lost my job. How wonderful is that? I can't pay my bills this month. No. It's not like pulling the string and getting the chatty Cathy affirmation when you feel like crying and screaming and laying on the ground and eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's and 2 bags of potato chips and some Doritos and then two liters full of Coke. Okay, no, that's just me. Yeah, wait, too close to home, Trish. We don't deny what's happening in this world, whether it scares us, whether it energizes us, whether it makes us so happy or so sad. For heaven's sakes, get off the denial. Part of the book that we're in right now, part of our readings for this week, if you have the book and if you are reading along, this week, coming from today, we'll read up to chapter 4. If you're looking at me blankly, like some people are like, what book is this that we're talking about? We have them in the bookstore. You might remember a couple of weeks ago, Linda Martellowitz was here, and she did a beautiful, beautiful talk about prayer and offered, if any of you have ever been in Texas, the little turnarounds that they have in Texas, where if you get off course, you don't have to go 7 miles before the next exit. You just go to the next turnaround, and no harm, no foul, turn around. And she offered, that is her kind of take on prayer, that anytime she starts to get, she has an opportunity to take a breath and turn around. Head into prayer instead of despair. Something along those lines. I made a rhyme. Ooh, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Yeah, actually I did, but no. So if you don't have one of these books and you'd like to join in with us reading it, I will tell you each Sunday for about the next 4 where we're at in here. I want to give us opportunities to get together in discussion like we've done before when we read a book and do a Zoom discussion. I will start that not this coming week because I won't be here, but the week after that. And that gives me an opportunity to address something. The elephant in the room, shall we say. It's a fascinating dynamic how when we get someone that we kind of like up on a platform in a church setting, churches can become what we call minister-centric. And that means that if the minister that you have come to enjoy is not standing on the platform, you don't show up. Because you just want to hear that specific message. And we can start to get a little fear around, a little attachment to and a little fear around the fact that unity looks like this right now. With this person standing on the stage doing her ridiculousness that sometimes gets more ridiculous than others. And people can start to get a little fear about loss. Now, I've experienced my fair share of loss in this life. As all of you know, the thing that brought me here was the death of my husband. And that's what opened the door for me to be standing on this platform right now. And I've recently stepped into the dating world, going on 4 years after the death of my husband. And I have a lovely beau who happens to be a snowbird and lives part-time in Tennessee and part-time here. He's currently in Tennessee, where I will be tomorrow morning. Okay? I don't really know what to do with that, okay? But so let's set that aside for a minute. Here's my little freak out. Oh my God. Okay, so we'll set that over there. And for the last few weeks, and as I've been dialoguing through this, and I've been bringing, like Linda Martellowitz was here. We had the board from Unity of Venice here. We've had some amazing Unity guest speakers. And I've been getting emails and texts and little questions of, are you leaving? Are you moving away? Are you going to Tennessee? The other big one, because I happen to have the gift of being involved in a lot of teams with Unity Worldwide Ministries, and on that path, the other big question or fear that I have heard from some is, are you going to go work for Unity and leave us? So take a breath, everybody. I'm here. I'm staying here. And where I too, well, thank you. And if you'll have me, that is. Now, there might come a day where you're like, that Trish, So as long as it works for all of us that I am here, I have no plans on going anywhere. No, I'm not bringing in Unity speakers and things to replace me. I'm so excited that you love me. And even in loving me, there's going to come a time that if all you ever hear is this up here, you're going to go, oh, God, could we get a little variety, please? So I don't want this to be a minister-centric church. I don't want this to be a walk where you say, well, Trish said, and therefore it is law. Oh, my God, you're in trouble if that's what you're saying. I want all of us to continue the exploration that was happening when I first stepped on this stage, where everybody was showing up for unity, to be unity, to express their growth and their evolution and their blessings and their troubles and all of that, and to come together in this spirit family to support one another and remind each other of our light when we forget that it's there. I am honored beyond any words that exist that I get to be the one to stand here most Sundays, that I get to have this life after the bottom fell out of mine, and that I get to walk with all of you who are the most amazing Unity congregation. You have no idea. We are known movement-wide. Unity of Sebring is known movement-wide for the consciousness that exists in this space. I couldn't be more honored to be allowed to be here. I'm not going anywhere, you guys, okay? I'm not going anywhere. So please know that. I mean, we're all going places together. And this is where my roots are. This is where my feet are. And even if I were to ever have the great blessing to be able to serve further at Unity Worldwide, it would be from my home base of Unity of Sebring. So please know that, please. And don't ever feel like you can't come to me and ask me those questions. Please. I think you guys should know by now you can ask me anything, and you have. So please know, if you ever have any feelings or worries or anything like that, don't ever hesitate. Let's have a conversation. This movement, this person, is based in prayer, in the energy of affirmative prayer, which is what is covered in this book. I've had a lot of people ask me, okay, so let's talk more about prayer. How do we pray in unity? Exactly how does this happen? And we could say 10 million words about it, and still you might not have heard those 4 words that would unlock the door for you. So we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep going over it. And Linda's words are different than what mine words would be. And so that's why it's such a wonderful thing to bring her in and to expand the possibility of how I get to stand up here and talk with you. So that's why I do those things. That's why we do those things. It benefits all of us to keep expanding our visions. So, unity prayer. In a nutshell, and we've been talking about it, and I talked a lot about it last Sunday, and this is something that I hope we can all grasp, is the biggest thing I can tell you, the biggest thing that I can use as a demonstration is that truth in our 5 principles, that first one, that God is it. If there's a devil in your life, it's not a separate thing from God. It exists within it. God is it. And so, yes, there is darkness and there is light. And sometimes we make darkness the bad guy. Darkness can be one of our biggest growing opportunities. If you feel like you're in the dark, remember that the seeds grow buried, not sitting out in the light. And so sometimes if you feel like you're in the dark, instead of feeling like you've been buried, maybe you could feel like you've been planted. And that this is the time to grow deep roots and to reach for the surface. And how do we do that? Well, Unity's prayer is one of those. Now, in my frazzledness of getting ready to go to Tennessee tomorrow, oh my God, did I say I was doing that? I can't believe I'm doing that. Okay, anyway, I forgot to put my contacts in this morning, so yeah, it's been one of those kind of days. I'm kind of vibrating, as everybody has been telling me this morning. But I wanted to share some of the things from these chapters this week that are really impactful. See, this is something that they say, and it's Linda and Deanne Morency wrote this book together, and they say, our essential nature is creative. We create our experience, which is to say that all of our thoughts, beliefs, and deep-seated convictions, whether conscious or subconscious, are the raw material from which we create the life we are living. I've said it so many times, you guys, about how if we can get really friendly with going within and exploring in here and figuring out what's driving this car, we can show up more consciously, more awake in our lives, and we can make decisions that allow us to drive where we want, not where the autopilot is taking us. Okay? That's critical. So many of our beliefs and so many of our things that are the creative forces in our lives can be unconscious. We have the same relationship that shows up with new faces over the years, right? That we keep meeting that same relationship again and again and again. Or we start a new job thinking it's going to be better than the last one, and it seems like the people are the same as they were in the last one. Those group dynamics are the same. Or, let's see, we move to a new town and a new house, and we think, okay, well now, this is where I'm finally going to be happy. I'm going to be able to, show up as I would like to show up, and it's a new house and new surroundings, and about 6 months later, you realize it feels the same as the old house. Guess what the common denominator is? Me. Yeah, wherever I go, there I am. So if I want the next place I go to be different in some way from the place that I was in last, that's up to me. See, God lives in here. Yes, God lives out there too, but God is not an old white guy sitting on a cloud pulling your strings and messing with you. The devil is not some powerful being sitting somewhere in the middle of the core of the earth. Wow, that would be uncomfortable. And messing with us. God, the devil, evil, all of these concepts, love, hate, darkness, light, they all exist within the allness of what God is. If our lives are showing up with a lot of fear and doubt and horror and things that we want to escape, the common denominator is the way we are holding the things that we are in. I've said it before, and I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but it's present for me right now. I spent yesterday with my kids, and there's always the presence of where, Pop-Pop, my husband. One of the most beautiful things, one of the most sacred moments One of the most closest to God opportunities in my entire life happened when I was holding my husband's hands and he was taking his last breath. I've never felt closer to God than in that moment. Now, some people could say, oh my gosh, it was a horrible experience. Oh my God, yes, that came later, the loss, the grief, but that moment, the veil between what we see as human and what we see as divine is paper thin. And it's vaporous in those moments. If we can allow something like that to inform us, if we can know that even in sickness, even in death, even in loss, the things that we label as bad, because guess what? It's not good or bad. It simply is. It's brought into existence, whatever it is, by consciousness, by belief, by thoughts of lack and limitation and separation and alienation, or thoughts of inclusion and expansion and blessing and love. We can show up in situations that people would label horrible as the brightest light in the room. Unity's affirmative prayer practice is one of those ways, because it's not that we are saying, oh God, somewhere out there, please land something on me to help me get out of this. Unity prayer is saying, here I am, Lord, in this situation, and I am choosing in this situation to understand that it is here for me in my journey and in my experience. It is here for me to learn from. I am willing to go through the rocky parts and understand what the rocks are made of so that I can see the fabric of Godness that is through it all. Because when we hold things differently, they show up differently. And they may not have even changed, but we feel different in them. So that creative process, that thought process that says, right now, woo, this is tough. Not sure yet how I'm going to make it through this. Not sure how this is going to work. And, there's my favorite word again. I'm not going to show you my tattoo because I have a sleeve on, but imagine there's an and right here, because there is. Okay, so, and, oh, I'm especially ridiculous this morning, aren't I? Okay, so, and what is here for us, what we meet as being for us, is going to move through us differently than if we greet it like this. Gritted teeth, clenched muscles, all of that kind of stuff. If that's the way we're meeting the world, science works. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If we are meeting something with a push, it is gonna push back. If we are meeting something with an open embrace of, I am here, I am open and ready and receptive, and I know that this too, not only will it pass, but it will teach me something that I didn't know before I got to this doorstep. If we can hold the situations in our lives like that, everything changes. And not in a fake way, not in a, it's all good. But taking those times to say, right now this hurts. Right now I'm scared. Right now I'm not really sure what's about to happen. And for heaven's sakes, I feel like I'm going to pee my pants. Trish. And if I can firmly believe that God is in absolutely everything, including my breath, then I will meet it differently and it will meet me differently. And everything changes. Unity prayer says, I see what this is. I feel what I feel. I know what I know. And at the beginning and end and all through it, God is in it. And so I don't have to pray saying, please help me. I can take a breath. I can center in the Godness that I know I exist within, that I am made of, that I am created by, and that moves through and as me into this world. And I can say, okay, yes, I'm feeling all of these things, and I can take a breath. I can know at depth that God is in this. Not only that, God, this is made of God stuff. This situation that I can bless or hate is made of God stuff. And I am able to stand in my truth knowing that I am too. And that I can go through these things that I have been brought to so that I can come out on the other side a bigger, better version of me. So that I can come out on the other side altered in the best possible ways and evolved. Right? And we've got to claim that. See, that's the thing. And it's not about denial. See, they talk in these chapters. I really haven't done anything about this book so much, have I? They talk in these chapters this week about affirmations and denials. In Unity Prayer, we use affirmations and denials. And I love the fact that in this book, they update the 1888 terminology to affirmations and negations. See, denial, as we all usually know it in this day and age, it's a psychological term. And it means there is a giant elephant standing on your foot and you're going, it's all good. That's not happening. It's not happening. That's denial when we think of denial. So if we think of affirmations and negations, it gives us the opportunity to really tap into the power of what that is. Now that's saying, I am made of God's stuff. God is in me. My human side says, I may be scared, I may be unsure, I may not know what's happening, and I get to step back into that affirmation and say, I'm made of God's stuff, and so is this. So I'm going to step into it and embrace it as much as I can and say, thank you for being here to teach me. I'm eager to learn the lesson. That's the affirmative part. The negation, the denial in that respect, is to say, this has no true power over me. This is a situation in my life, and I'm going to make it through this. This has no power over me. That's the negation. So the negation is, yeah, it's here. I see you. I hear you. I smell you. I feel you. Don't like it. And you're only going to be here for a few minutes until I embrace the lesson, or a few days, or a few months, or whatever it is. You're only here to bring me through to the blessing. And so I affirm that this too is made of God's stuff. I affirm that I am made of God's stuff, and I affirm that I'm going to walk through this, embracing the lessons and the blessings so that I may move through to my joy authentically, true. I'm going to take off this week for 5 days. No, I'm not leaving. No, I'm not moving to Tennessee. No, I'm not getting married. No, I'm not doing all... Okay, so there's all these things. What I am doing is opening to a space in my life that I've never been in before. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm thrilled. I've got butterflies. I'm unsure at how 5 days in a row are going to go with a man I have yet to spend 24 hours in a row with. We've both been talking about it this whole past week. Right now, I'm standing here full of butterflies. And I know that yesterday at lunch, when my son, who is on the autism spectrum, says to me, Mom, because my kids haven't met him yet, because I went into this, I like that, Yeah, everybody here keeps saying, we really want to meet him. My kids have to meet him first. Yesterday, sitting across from my son at lunch, because I was just sure I was going to meet somebody to casually date. See, that's the thing about our expectations. I was not up for a relationship, but I did want a little companionship. I am human. And I thought, I'll meet somebody, we'll have a few casual dates, we'll see if it goes anywhere. What I met was a person that has the possibility and capacity of being a partner in my life, and me a partner in his. I've spent most of my adult life committed married relationship. He has spent the majority of his life never committing to a relationship. Yeah. And, there's our and. He has, when he decided to open to dating, guess what he did? A whole bunch of work on himself. He decided to consciously show up in relationship and navigate forward with someone from a healed space. And when I encountered thinking I was going to have a fun person to casually date, what I got was someone who is an incredible, doting, caring, nurturing, inquiring partner. See, because we set up our expectations, and if we allow God the room to amaze us, God will every single time. So I'm headed off for 5 days, asking you to hold us in prayer. After my son sitting across the table from me yesterday, who at one point in his life really had very little room for facial recognition of people's expressions due to his spectrum of autism, said to me yesterday, Mom, I really want to meet this man because I love the way your face looks when you talk about him. If you give God room to astound and surprise you, God will do it every single time. And so it is.
Thank you for joining us today. Please visit www.unityofsebring.org for more information, to submit a prayer request, or to donate to our ministry. We hope to see you again very soon.